Tales at dawn are told when the sky is still purple and birds have not yet started to sing. They are stories passed from lips to ears by firelight, where old men clear their throats and children lean forward. This one begins not in a faraway land, but in the middle of Lagos, where wealth rises high in glass towers, and truth hides behind tinted car windows. There was once a man named Baba Oladel, who lived in a large house near the heart of the city. His house had 2 gates, a cook, a driver, and floors that shined like water. But he had only one child, his son Adalu. And this son, though tall and strong and wise with business, refused to marry. Every morning Baba Oladel prayed. And every night he worried. What is a home without laughter from children? What is a legacy if it ends with silence? He had tried many things. He had spoken gently. He'd shouted once. He even took Adilu to visit the village, hoping that maybe fresh yam and a choir of aunties would do the work. But Adilu always said the same thing. Baba, love is dead. These women want money, not marriage. They say sweet things only because I have a house and a car. You want me to marry? I will marry when someone sees me, not my wallet. The words pained Baba Oladel, not because they were rude, but because he feared they were true. He had once told his son, when you inherit my name, you will also inherit my peace. But that peace cannot live in an empty home. Still Adilu refused, so Baba Oladel did something no one expected. He disappeared, not forever, not completely, but in the way a wise man disappears when he has a plan. One cloudy Monday, he told his son he was going to a spiritual retreat. I need to talk to the spirits of your mother and our ancestors, he said. Perhaps they will tell me how to help you. Adilu nodded, barely lifting his eyes from his phone. But Baba did not go to any mountain. He went to Ajaji Aloud, hot, crowded part of Lagos where nobody knew his face. There he rented a small one-room corner by a roadside mechanic's shop. He changed his clothes. He put charcoal on his face and gray dust in his hair. He left his rings and wristwatch behind by the next morning. Abba Oladel was gone. In his place sat a tired old beggar in a torn brown caftan. His hands shook as he leaned against a broken wall. He said nothing. He only watched, smiled softly, and bowed his head when people passed. He had no cup to collect money. Only a handwritten sign on a piece of old cardboard. I was once someone. Now I'm no one. Still, I smile. That was the start. Back in the city, Adilu continued his life. He went to meetings, answered calls, and wore clean suits. He thought little about his father's trip. But after 1 week, his close friend Ao invited him to a market launch in Ajej. There's a new business opening near the market gate. Ao said, come and see how real people live. You work too much? Adilu rolled his eyes. But he went. That Saturday, he stepped out of a black SUV near the edge of the market. People moved in all directions. Hawkers shouted. Children played. With old tires. The air smelled of roasted corn and sweat. He followed Io toward a small stage. But halfway there, something caught his eye. An old beggar sat near a wall, half hidden by a stack of crates. His clothes were torn, his hands shook, but his face, something about the man's face felt strange. Familiar. His eyes were gentle. His beard moved slightly when he smiled. Adilu blinked. He could not place it. Just then, a young woman in a green dress walked past the beggar. She paused. Adilu expected her to drop money and leave, or maybe take a photo like many people did. But she did neither. She knelt. Papa, she said softly, you shouldn't sit in this, son. Here, take this. She gave him a plastic bowl of rice and beans, still warm, wrapped in nylon, and a small sachet of cold water. Then she touched his shoulder gently, smiled, and walked away. The beggar looked down at the food as if it were gold. He bowed his head. Lo Adilu watched everything from behind a mango stall. His chest felt tight. She didn't ask his name, didn't wait for thanks. She didn't even look around to see if someone was watching. That night, Adilu sat alone in his apartment. His dinner remained untouched. He kept thinking of the girl, and the beggar. And that strange look in the beggar's eyes died mourning. He was back in Ajaj. This time, he came alone. He found the old man in the same place. The beggar looked more tired today. There was a small cut on his foot. People passed by like wind. One boy threw an empty sachet of water at him and laughed. The beggar didn't move. Then she came again. The girl in the green dress, though today she wore blue dot, she saw the wound on his foot, gasped softly, and without saying a word, she tore a piece from her wrapper, poured water on it, and cleaned the cut. "You need a proper bandage, Papa," she said. "Tomorrow I will bring one." "Shouldn't sit here like this. I have no home, my child," the beggar said, voice full of sadness. "Then I'll find you one," she whispered. Adilu stepped back into a shadow, watching. He followed her that day. She walked through 2 streets, then entered a low compound, painted in dull yellow. A neighbor sweeping the yard told him her name is Amaka. Good girl, lost her parents young. She works at the primary school as a cleaner. Looks after her younger brother like a mother. The next morning, Adilu returned again. The beggar sat in his spot. Amaka returned, carrying bandages, a bottle of Dettol, and a small loaf of bread. She knelt beside him, cleaned the foot, applied the medicine, then unwrapped the bread. "Eat, Papa," she said. "It's not much, but it will give you strength." The beggar took the bread with shaking hands. "Thank you, my daughter," he whispered. "Most people walk past me like I am dust." She smiled. "God sees you, even if people don't." Adilu felt his throat tighten. For the next 4 days, he returned. Amaka came each time. Sometimes with food, sometimes with warm socks. Once, with an old novel saying this will keep your mind busy. And every time, her kindness came without drama, without reward. She didn't even know anyone was watching her, but someone was, and someone else was testing, because the beggar of Tas course was Baba Oladele. Inside the one-room shack. Baba took off his fake beard and rubbed his knees. He stared into a cracked mirror and smiled. "My son is watching," he said softly. "But will he open his heart? That is the real question." Outside, the city moved like a river dot, and somewhere nearby, the seed of something real had just been planted, but nobody knew yet if it would grow. Tales at dawn do not always begin with drums or thunder. Sometimes they begin with silence, kind of silence that waits, listens, and holds its breath. This tale picks up where the truth hides behind a beard, where kindness walks with no name, and where one man's test may unlock another man's heart. The beggar still sat by the market gate. His bones ached, but his heart was full. Baba Oladele, in his disguise, had seen many things in the past 2 weeks. He saw people drop coins without looking. He saw others laugh and walk past like the poor were shadows. But most of all, he saw Hermaka. She came every day. Her clothes were simple, her smile quiet. She brought warm socks on a rainy day, mango slices in a paper napkin, and once a novel titled The Concubine. Stories keep the soul alive. She said the old man knew something else too. His son had been watching from the other side of the street. Behind tinted windows or mango trees, Adilu returned again and again. At first, he came out of curiosity, then out of surprise, and now he wasn't sure. He just knew that when Amaka appeared, the market felt different. One day, she gave the beggar a handmade bracelet. "I found these beads in the drawer of our old house." "Purple means royalty," she told him with a soft laugh. "You may not look like a king, Papa, but you carry yourself like one." The bracelet was simple faded beads on a thin string butt. When she tied it on his wrist, it felt like gold. That same evening, Adilu sat in silence on his balcony. The city was loud, but his mind was quiet. He replayed everything in his head. Amaka's voice, her hands, her words. Kindness is never wasted, she had once said to a street vendor. His phone buzzed beside him. It was a message from an unknown. Number, return home tomorrow. There's someone I want you to meet. It was signed Baba. The next morning, Adilu drove back to his father's house. He expected drums or lectures. He expected another talk about marriage. But what he saw made him freeze. There in the living room stood the beggar. Only now he was no beggar. His beard was trimmed. His clothes were clean. Look gray in his hair was real, but the weakness in his bones had disappeared. Baba Oladel stood tall, smiling strong and proud. Adilu dropped his car keys in shock. Baba, he whispered. Double quotes, yes, my son, Baba said, calmly. Now you see me. You were the beggar. Baba nodded. And you were the watcher. Adilu's mouth opened, then closed. He didn't know what to say. I had to be someone else. Baba continued. You said love cannot be trusted. You said women love only your name, your house, your money. I wanted to show you something else, so I left everything behind and became no one. And her, Adilu asked. Amaka, Baba smiled gently. She saw me when no one else did. She fed me without cameras. She gave her scarf when rain fell, and the bracelet. He raised his wrist. She said I looked like a king. Adilu sat down, slow and heavy. She's real, he whispered. Yes, Baba said. And she does not know she was part of a test. A long silence passed. Between them, then Baba leaned forward. I invited her here today. I told her an old man she once helped is now in good health and wants to thank her properly. You what? Adilu stood. You invited her here. Baba chuckled. Why not? You are not the only one who can make surprises. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Baba walked over and opened it, and there stood Amaka, wearing a simple white blouse and a long skirt. In her hands was a small bag of oranges. I brought these for the papa from the market, she said politely. They're sweet and good for the heart. Baba stepped aside. Come in, my daughter. She entered, her eyes full of kindness, and then they landed on Adilu. She blinked once, twice, you. She said slowly, you're the man from the market, the one always standing near the mango tree. Adilu's face turned warm. Yes, I was watching. Not in a bad way, just learning. She looked confused. But why? Baba stepped between them. Because he is my son. You are his lesson. Amaka turned to Baba. You're not poor. Baba laughed. Only in bones, not in heart. This house is mine. That car outside, also mine. And this son, he is the one I wanted to help. Akama looked down, then up again. I never helped you for reward, she said softly. I know, Baba said. Ah, that is why the reward is coming. He turned to his son Adilu. He said, this woman showed you what your eyes could not see. She saw the man beneath the dust. Now ask yourself, did you only watch her? Or did your heart move? Adilu stepped forward. He looked at Amaka, really looked. Not her clothes, not her shoes, but her hands, her eyes, her calm strength. I thought I didn't believe in love, he said, but now, not sure what I believe. Only know I've never seen someone do so much for someone who could offer nothing. Amaka nodded. Sometimes love is not loud. It just stays. A soft silence filled the room. Then Baba Oladel clapped his hands. Let's eat, he said cheerfully. My bones need soup. And this is a celebration, even if no one is married yet. Everyone laughed. Later that night, as stars blinked above the roof, Adilu and Amaka sat outside under the old mango tree. The air smelled of roasted yam. From the kitchen, Baba's voice sang an old village song. I'm sorry I followed you, Adilu. Said I'm glad you did, Amaka replied. He turned to her. Can we start again? Properly. Not as beggar and helper, as man and woman. Amaka looked at him and smiled. Yes, she said simply. We can start. Inside, Baba Oladel peeked through the curtain and smiled. He whispered to himself. When wisdom fails, the heart must take charge. And somewhere in the night, a bracelet of faded purple beads caught the moonlight shining like royalty, glowing with truth. because tales at dawn always end when hearts come home. And in this tale, the richest man found what gold could not buy.